I heard a great story in church yesterday that I wanted to steal from my pastor and share here tonight. It seems to fit well with what I was thinking of for this week. About 100 years ago in Russia, there was a time when factory workers were stealing stuff from work. They were stealing stuff from the factories, things were going missing. So the government started putting guards at the factories. They had these guards there to check the workers on their way out. So the first night the guards are there and the workers are leaving and they're checking them over. And here comes this guy pushing a wheelbarrow that's piled high with something. He's right in the middle of his crowd. There's a blanket over it and the guard stops him. He's like, you there, what do you have in the wheelbarrow? He says, oh, it's just sawdust and wood chips. The guard's like, I don't believe you, dump it out. So they dump it out, they check, and sure enough, it's just sawdust and wood chips. The guard's like, okay, sorry, go. Next night, here comes this guy again with his wheelbarrow piled high with a blanket over it. And the guard's, what do you have now? He's just sawdust and wood chips, same as last night. I don't believe you, they check it again. And this goes on for several nights, and it keeps going, and the guard starts to become even more suspicious. He knows this guy's doing something, but he just can't figure it out. So he keeps calling him over, and finally, after a week or two of this, he pulls the guy to the side. He said, look, he says, I know you're stealing something. I know you're doing something wrong here. It's driving me nuts. Just tell me what it is. You're not even in trouble. I won't even say anything. I just want to know. And the guy looks at him and goes, well, I'm taking wheelbarrows. The guard is so blinded by his own expectations and what he thinks is going on, and where he puts his focus in the wrong spot and misses what's right in front of his eyes. I wanted to, since it was Palm Sunday yesterday, I wanted to look at Jesus' arrival to Jerusalem, his arrival to his people. There's a lot of rumors going through Israel at this time about this, Messiah-like person coming, and people are pretty excited. Zechariah chapter 9, verses 9 and 10 says, rejoice, O people of Zion. Shout in triumph, O people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, yet he is humble, riding on a donkey's colt. I will remove the battle chariots from Israel and the war horses from Jerusalem. I will destroy all the weapons used in battle, and your king will bring peace to the nations. His realm will stretch from sea to sea and from the Euphrates River to the ends of the earth. Based on this prophecy, people in the first century had an expectation for their Messiah. They were waiting for this coming king, and this king was going to deliver them from Rome or whoever happened to be in charge at the time, based on who was looking at the prophecy. But he was going to deliver Israel into freedom. They were going to be brought to their rightful place as the top of the world, as God's chosen people. And they would finally be free, something that Israel had rarely been throughout the centuries. So here comes Jesus riding in. The people are rejoicing. They see him coming on this donkey. They know what's happening. They start calling out to him, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. They're excited. Here's our deliverer. Here's our freedom coming to us. And they welcome him into the city. Now we all know the story. As the week goes on, obviously attitudes began to change. They didn't see Rome being tossed off. They didn't see him stepping up and taking charge. Do that. And so for a lot of people, what did that mean? They rejected him. This can't be the Messiah. This can't be the one. They're still looking. Like, when are you going to throw off Rome? We do this. And next thing you know, here he is hanging on a cross and he's gone. How many turned away from him during that time? Or after that time especially? How many, because of their own expectations, missed what was going on right in front of their eyes? Missed that God was standing in front of them, delivering them, ready to deliver them into freedom. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, Paul says, it's for freedom that Christ set you free. Jesus came to bring freedom to the people, to all the people. But it wasn't the freedom that they were expecting. He talks about it later in the chapter, I think it's verse 13, that you've been set free, but don't use this freedom to indulge the flesh. It's for loving one another. It's to live in the Spirit. And how often did people then and people now still miss that? We still have our own expectations of what God should do in our life and how he should do it in particular. And when we're so focused on that, we completely miss what's going on right in front of our own eyes. I know that's been my story over the years. I can get so caught up looking at how I want God to change certain things in my life that I don't see the real work he's doing. Next couple of videos, I'm going to talk about what the work of Christ looked like and what did Jesus fully deliver us from. I often hear, objections to Christianity. It's like, if I become a Christian or if I follow Jesus, I can't do this anymore, or I can't do that. I've heard people, I guess I can't smoke anymore. I can't curse and swear anymore. I can't be promiscuous and sleep around anymore with lots of people. And, I'm not allowed to do it. I'm like, no, you get to stop doing those things, is my answer to those questions. You get to stop. You're going to want to stop. We're so caught up in things that what we expect we should be able to do in our lives that we miss the gift that God has for us. And so starting next week, it's going to be really dive into the work of Christ. What did he deliver us from? And more importantly, what did he deliver us into? There's two sides to that. We often talk about what we're delivered from. We're forgiven of sin, but we rarely talk about being raised to new life and what that new life entails. So I'm going to cut this off right here because for once I'm going to do a short video that doesn't go to 20 minutes, and we'll dive in next week.